Welcome everyone to the topic control measures hierarchy. So we'll talk about the various steps prioritized about the control measures that needs to be taken forward to it. Essentially, five steps are there. Come to across it. Here is the hierarchy of control. We have the personal protection equipment that comes around it. Then we have the administrative tools that needs to be taken care of. The engineering sections that we need to look into it. The isolation unit that needs to be incorporated, the substitutions, and definitely the elimination. Now remember, this is the control tool that needs to be commensurated with the risk level. Lower value controls can be within an interim methods, and the longer term controls have to be implemented. Increased level of effectiveness is what we are looking at. We are all looking towards the greener line, the elimination part of it. It is all about the participation that comes around it. We are looking. So what do we understand with the hierarchy of controls? These are the levels that needs to be taken forward for you to understand altogether. Yes, the hierarchy of control starts from the bottom of the list when considering options. Many employer believe such so. But some actually think it is a quick fix things. It is a simpler modus operandi that the change in the worker behaviors, giving them certain amount of protection against the hazard, will instill confidence in them, will build trust in them. In the long run, believe me or not, the approach costs more. Then the money is less effective. It should always be starting from the top of the sense. Basically, what are we trying to, whatever I'm trying to tell it to you is employer believe that the onus of control lies with the employers. A little bit of a gimmicky things, an artificial makeup things that can be given in terms of protection equipment, in terms of certain safety hazard that can be displayed out there, and you are good to go. Probably for the time being, but in the long run, if you don't take adequate measures, things will not be in your favor. And that is what the hierarchy of control is all about. It. Remember, again and again, I am reiterating that how to go about it. Let's talk with the first thing, and the foremost thing is the elimination, which gets eliminated altogether the hazard from the system. The best way to get it done is to remove the hazard. For example, repair damaged equipment. Absolutely, when on as on when on required. I will again get a step ahead and tell it to you that always have a maintenance schedule in place. Do maintenance on a regular interval. Have move your noisy machine area to a quiet area. Ensure the equipment meets the ergonomics of the users. How ambivalent are they? How ambidextrous are they are looking comfortable working with the equipments altogether. So we need to have such kind of measures in place. Noisy equipment at a quiet area, probably if there are hazardous elements, can we isolate them altogether? Then comes talking about substitution. Yes, that's a wonderful way to go for hazardous substances. Can we have replace it with a material or resources which are not so detrimental, which are not so impactful in a negative fashion? So can we utilize less hazardous resource percent? For example, a telephone handset can be replaced with a headset. Yes, definitely yes. You don't need to pick up a phone every now and then. Now, if you are wearing a headset, that means both your hands are completely free. So you can constantly use the telephone as on when on required, substituting a smaller package or a container to reduce the risk of manual handling, such as back strain, probably utilizing wheels altogether to carry your inventory, to carry the heavy materials instead of packing it on your back and taking it manually. This is what we are looking at it often. Now we will be talking of the substitution product in terms of hazardous chemical with a less dangerous one. This is very true, absolutely true. We need to understand which are the products which are not friendly to the human beings, and accordingly, if we can replace it. So then comes something called isolation. Isolation is where we have to isolate the hazard or the chemical or any untoward incident that might be coming. The moment we are isolating it, we are putting a control, putting a tab onto it, we are guarding it, placing hazardous electrical plants altogether. Enclosures with restricted access is the way to go around it. Place out the service tag. Remember, this is what of vital importance, as in the service tag it tells you whether the plant is working in a perfect fashion or not. So we'll talk about the engineering controls. Now, this is what we are looking into it in terms of provisions of mechanical engineering. What are the aids that comes around it? We have to look of alternatives. We will be talking about alternatives every now and then. Remember, electrical switches, cards, isolating, copying equipment, soundproof, ventilating those processes time and again, every now, every moment. This is what we are looking at. Having a well lit work area eliminates all our chances of any untoward incidents. Having a well airy materials or work area, having proper sanitation, having everything with which is covered, insulated as far as engineering is concerned, pasting right instructions at the appropriate place, pasting it on the table, pasting it on the board, pasting on the machine area. You need to go around it, and that is how we need to prevent some untoward incidents or any hazardous messages that comes around it. Then comes the administrative control. What is it all about? It is all about training. It is all about policy. It is all about procedure. It is the fact that despite the availability of PPE kits, people hesitate to use it. It has to be made mandatory. Workers, there are no compromises as far as safety issues are concerned. Remember, safety first is the motto that we need to take around it. We need to have increasing job variety, introduce job rotation, so that the workers doesn't get fed up with the work that he or she has been doing it time in time out. We need to design jobs. In fact, I believe in redesigning jobs every now and then. This will keep the impetus in the workers alive, help him or her kicking up in the job altogether, training and education to learn how the professional workers work around it. This is what we are looking. Now, talking about training, education, professional works, how do you go around here? What is to be done? How to mitigate such kind of administrative control that comes around it? We have to say about the personal protection equipment. People actually, things are available, but people are hesitant to use them. Why? Because of the lack of time, because it becomes a hindrance in the process of their work. So what are the example? Use earplugs. See, using of earplugs in the noisy area, people don't hear it. Using eye protection when working with chemicals, or with, for that matter, with welding equipment. Using gloves to protect under infection. You wearing heavy boots when you're working in a construction industry, wearing a helmet that comes around it. Now, these are personal protective equipment. What are they for? They are there for the safety of the worker. They are there for the safety of the staff. And believe me, if people overlook and some untoward incident happen, it is an irreplaceable damage that happens altogether, leaves an indelible mark on the employee for times to come. And this is not only happening to the employee per se, the consequences might be felt, the repercussion might be felt to his or her colleagues, to his or her family, and society at large. That is what we are looking at. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.